Hello and welcome to the Long Island Weekend Weather Report. Unfortunately, a not so great weekend coming up. Dare I say it might be a little bit sucky. So today we had, again, those stratus clouds to start, and then they kind of broke up a little more toward the afternoon a little bit. They're kind of hugging the coast a little bit. But you can see here that did have a lot of that jet junk around today in the sky today. You can see a little bit of it there. There's a contrail right there. I think you can sort of see. But yeah, we did have a lot of that jet junk. So not a nice blue sky. Now, if you were in northern New England, looks like you had a nice blue sky. Doesn't look like there was much in the way of clouds at all. Is that a wildfire over there? What's that? Looks like there was a fire there. Oh no, it's probably not fire. It's probably snow. Probably snow cover. So you can see they still have the snow cover up there, and that's where the high was, kind of keeping them mostly sunny. But unfortunately for us, we had a lot of this jet junk around today, and now these clouds have kind of come back in. You can see here's the satellite loop, and you can see those marine clouds, the Stratus, coming in, and unfortunately they will be bringing some of that annoying, dreaded, sucky drizzle that as we get into the early morning hours. And kind of interesting tonight, though. Again, had this cloud deck kind of come on in, and you can see here off to the south in Rockville Center this evening. You didn't see it during the day, but then it started creeping up once the sun went down, and you can see it trying to obscure the moon here. You can see that layer, that cloud layer right there. And but when I got back north to Garden City, it was still clear. It was still, you had a lot of that jet smog around, but it was still kind of clear. And then and then the clouds kind of came back in, and they just swept right in. We were overcast in a matter of a minute or so. So these things kind of swept right in on us, and that's what we're dealing with. So let's go to the weather map here, and you can see a lot of action here. Red flag warnings, high wind warnings, wind advisories, and severe weather as well going on. But first, we'll touch on that, because that is what we're going to have to deal with later Sunday, and we'll have to see what holds together from that. So temperatures right now, 42 degrees at Islip, dew points up to 40, south-southwest wind, and it looks like drizzle is already being reported there at Islip. The visibility is down to a mile, so that's how quick that marine layer kind of came in here. Most of the day we were in the mid-50s with, again, plenty of sunshine after that Stratus burned off by noon, but there was a lot of jet smog in the air, and then it looks like drizzle started right around 9:15 this evening, so kind of not surprising here. Again, I took a few more pictures of the clouds that kind of came in. You could see them just roll right in. They just came right in on us, and they're bringing drizzle. So drizzle is already being reported at Islip. Let's see if it's being reported at Farmingdale. The visibility is also down to a mile, so definitely seeing some visibility restrictions. Yeah, Farmingdale also reporting mist. Their visibility is at 2.50 miles. And if you're at West Hampton, probably even. Let's take a look at West Hampton. 42. No, they have 6-mile visibility, so a little less over there. Kind of interesting to see that. And it probably has not made its way into Ocean County. Let's see if it has. 8-mile visibility with overcast, so it looks like it's not over there just yet, but it is rolling in, and you can see we've got small craft gale watches in effect Sunday morning through Sunday night, and because of this LLJ that we're going to be getting on Sunday. So let's start with the highs on the map. We'll start with that, and as far as high temperatures go, mid-50s generally across the whole area. So even though we're in this backdoor air mass with an east, where the south, well, we had more of a southeast wind today, still above normal. Just goes to show you how warm our world is becoming. Lows upper 30s to around the low 40s generally. Going to look at Islip, a high of 55 and a low of 41, puts us 9 degrees above normal for the day. So yep, still very much above normal. So let's look at the weather map now, and you'll see we've got this high pressure here. We've got this warm front that's going to approach during the weekend, and that's why we have to watch out for the drizzle. And then we got all this severe weather in the plains, and we'll be in Dixie Alley tomorrow. Looking at the surface analysis, you can see a number of multi-centered low-pressure systems here. There's your stalled backdoor front. There's another front kind of that's been off to the northwest. And that's pretty much what we're dealing with. And we pan out here, you'll see all the severe weather that's going on. And again, if you were up in Maine, like Augusta, you had a high of 50. It was still warm, but it was mostly sunny at least there. I think they didn't have as much of that jet junk. And then you have this severe weather that's occurring right now. Well, right now we don't have any active warnings, but you can see this big tornado watch. And take a look at these winds that are coming up ahead of this front here. And look at how warm it is, too. Farmington, for instance. And I think that's, where is that? That's, that might be, I can't see the states because of the colors. But 72, dew point 55, south wind at 33, gusting to 41. So you can see the energy that's surging up ahead. This LLJ. Here's another one, Logan County Airport, 75. So you can see the LLJ that we're going to be dealing with as we get towards Sunday. It looks like there is a severe thunderstorm watch in this little area right here. And then you go behind the front and the winds pick up and you get into the colder air. It looks like we have, what is this? What is that red there? Blizzard warning. So, yeah, they're going to have a blizzard warning. So, behind the system, when the cold air sweeps in, you're going to have snow. Heavy snow, too. And you can see these wind gusts up to 40. That's why we have wind advisories and even some high wind warnings and red flag warnings as you go into Texas with this low humidity, 64, but the dew point is 18. So there's a wildfire. And haze is already being reported at some of these airports. So we're actually seeing some dust that is blowing around in some of these areas here. So let's look at the CONUS satellite view. We'll pan this out. And actually, I'm going to put this on a... just to show you the storm. Yeah, look at all the haze. Is that dust? That looks like dust. Yeah, that's dust being blown. Look at that. There's dust being sucked into this thing. So it's actually creating a dust storm in Texas and Oklahoma. Look at that. That is highly, highly unusual. So let me take a closer look. Show you this. A minute here. That is really interesting. I think we already have our thumbnail. Southern Plains. I think this should give us a good look at the dust here. Take a look at that. That's dust. That's dust being swept up. I wonder if that dust is going to make it all the way. That's not smoke. That's dust. All over North Texas and into Oklahoma. So they are having a dust storm in some of these areas here. Haze. They just says haze, 2.5 mile visibility. But that's actually dust. Topeka, Kansas, reporting haze and very restricted visibility, too. There should be some kind of red flag warning. There's no dust storm warning being issued, though, in these areas. We have wind advisory and red flag warning in effect. But that's really unusual. We're going to go back to that MODIS satellite. See if we can see it on the MODIS, because we should. Oh, yeah, look at that. Wow. So, yeah, dust. There's dust, and we'll have to see how far north this dust gets, if that's going to impact anything close to our area. But that is dust right there in the air that is going from Texas into Oklahoma. That is unbelievable. So, yeah, we have a wild situation going on right now. We'll close this. We'll look at the radar. That's incredible. So, brutal wind and dust blowing. And here's the severe weather that we're dealing with here. Going into Illinois. Come on. Yeah, Illinois. I don't know why this is doing this, but hey, it doesn't want to display everything. We'll have to close some of these satellite thing. Maybe that will display it now. All right, so we're having difficulty with the radar, but there is actually a line here. And I zoom in, it disappears, but there is a line. There are no active warnings, but things are going to pick up. There's, again, your storm right there. Let's go to the Storm Prediction Center, and this is where we're going to have active. So we have this big area right now tonight with that moderate risk stretching through the eastern part of the Great Plains, really to the Mississippi. This is more like Mississippi River Valley. You can see all that severe weather there. A lot of severe risk. And then tomorrow, Tomorrow could be a, let's find tomorrow's particularly dangerous situation: Arkansas, Illinois, through Kentucky and Mississippi and Tennessee. So tomorrow is going to be even more active. Let's go. I'm trying to find the day too. This is something you very rarely see: a high probability of severe weather in this area. So this is the kind of system, again, that's going to be heading our way for Sunday. And the big question for Sunday night is, will the marine layer protect us from the severe weather or not? But you can see clearly a very high risk into Alabama and Mississippi. Well, a high risk. That's surrounded by moderate and enhanced. Anything that you see, there's definitely going to be a good possibility of big, large tornadoes in this area. And if we go to the tornado risk, take a look at that. That is a 30%. Actually, no, that is a 30% tornado risk in that area. That's a lot. So there's a lot of energy with this system. And the question is, will that translate into our area as we get into Sunday? They do push that marginal risk close to us, parts of New Jersey. Look how far north that slight risk gets. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this for Sunday night in our area. So, I'm talking about other areas. This, again, I will talk about it when I feel it will impact our area, and there definitely is that possibility. And the dust's really impressive with the dust situation, and I'm sure all this wind is definitely probably causing a lot of power outages. Let's go and take a look at this. Yep, we have a lot in Texas, Oklahoma, so the winds, and we're going to have to watch and see how this impacts our area. So now that we looked at all that, let's go to the models, and we'll go into the models here. 18Z GFS, show you this huge low that's going to go. It's going to shoot up into, again, way up into almost west of the Great Lakes, which is really strange, Saturday night. And then we have another low pressure center that's going to try to develop a little more east. But you notice those isobars getting very tight, and that it means a lot of wind as we get into Sunday and an LLJ, and then this front comes through Sunday night and then kind of hangs up a little bit as a low kind of forms along it, and that might cause the rain to linger into part of Monday for especially from west, especially if you're further east. So it really won't dry out until Monday evening into Tuesday with this system here. So that's, again, and I think all the models are saying that'll go to the European as well. You can see that isobar bunching, and then, it's not until we get into Sunday night and we get into the possibility. Now, because it slows down, look what happens when it slows down. All right, so the Euro actually does keep it a little further to the east of us, but look at that hanging up over there out east and kind of blossoming out over the ocean as well. So there's another low forms along it. So we might see thunderstorm. There may be a risk of severe weather even further east if that front gets hung up. There's a whole bunch of things. So let's go to the HRRR, and we'll start with the HRRR, obviously, now. HRRR not showing any precipitation tomorrow, but again, there could be sucky drizzle. And then as we go into Sunday, you notice the winds bunching up, and we have out to 0Z. That's 8 o'clock Sunday night. Not really showing much in the way of rain until we get toward a little later Sunday night, and not showing anything heavy. But that could always change. And as we get closer to Sunday night, obviously I'll have to be back here tomorrow talking about it, because we've got a lot to talk about with our weather tomorrow. We have to look at the risk again for severe weather. The NAM 12, we don't have enough of the 0Z NAM 12 to use in. This is the NAM, and you can see again, the NAM kind of slows that front down. You can see how it slows down. And the timing of that is really kind of hard to predict right now at this point, because we're still a ways out. But let's go back to the HRRR, look at the dew points and wind flow. We'll have to talk about that LLJ as well. So obviously we're in that marine air, east winds, and we're still going to stay in that marine air mass tomorrow, southeast winds. But the dew points and the temperatures are very close, so that means low clouds, fog, and again, chance of that sucky drizzle that we're going to have. And then for Sunday, the winds go a little more southerly. That brings in moist air. Probably the warm front probably makes it through sometime by probably noon, I guess. And inland, the temperatures will probably get quite warm, but along the coast, that southerly flow it probably won't get as warm. And these are the dew points, but you see they're well up into the 50s and even some 60s. So it's this very humid air that's being drawn up into this thing. If we pull this out a little bit, I'll go to the eastern U.S. to show you, again, the moisture that's being pulled up into this storm here. So it's quite moist air, warm, humid air, and that is going to mean that's the energy provided for the thunderstorms. You can see how the marine air has kept us cool today, while well off to the west. And if you're in Ohio, you're dealing with uppers, even 80 degrees in southern Ohio. That is insanity for March. I mean, yeah, it's more like May, obviously, but this is what we're dealing with. And then as we get into your Saturday, you see it stays kind of cool. Temperatures only in the upper 40s. And again, upper 40s to around 50, close to that dew point, which is why we're going to deal with the drizzle and the fog, and maybe it gets a little warmer in southern Jersey. And then the temperatures kind of just sit in place, upper 40s for Saturday night. And then Sunday is where we see the temperatures really warm up inland. If you're in Jersey, you're going to have temperatures up into the low 70s perhaps. But for Long Island, we'll probably have temperatures mid-50s, and maybe it'll get close to 60 perhaps. All depends if the sun can kind of peek out through all the clouds. That is the question. But we will be in the warm sector later Sunday. But tomorrow we deal with that warm front kind of stuck to our south and dealing with the gloom from that. Let's talk about that LLJ. So I'll show you the LLJ as it comes east. And it doesn't look too impressive on this. But that could change. That could change as we get closer to it. And again, different models have different opinions. If we go to the GFS, the LLJ is a little more impressive. Let's look at it on the European. It's a little more impressive. Not the most impressive LLJ I've seen for sure, but it is there. It is definitely there. So let's go to the RGEM, and we'll look at our skies. Obviously, plenty of clouds. This is the RGEM. And again, the RGEM kind of tries to dial the clouds back a little bit. If you're north and west of the city, maybe it brightens a little bit, perhaps. If you're well inland, you'll have mostly sunny weather. If you're well to the north, you probably have mostly sunny, maybe some scattered jet chunk. But other than that, you will have the sun out. So it's going to be a situation where it'll be much cooler along the coast. And meanwhile, if you're in interior New England, it'll be much warmer. It'll be a pretty upside-down situation with the temperatures when you see a setup like this. This is what the RGEM has, all right? And the clouds come back Saturday night. And then for Sunday, we have to watch, again, for that warm sector. And there may be some peaks of sun inside of it. And then the clouds, obviously, Monday we'll be stuck in the clouds. And we'll be fighting to get rid of them even into Tuesday because that front is going to hang up and stall out offshore. And ruin St. Patrick's Day. Why not? So here's the RGEM, by the way. And here's what happens again. You can see the RGEM's really slow with this. Actually, is it raining all day Monday? All day Monday. So hopefully that is not what's going to happen. This is the RGEM model. And again, you have different, here's the icon. Icon has it offshore by Monday night. So RGEM probably being wrong on that, probably. And also, I don't think it's being a little too bullish with sunshine tomorrow as well. We'll go ahead and look at the NAM3 as well. We have only 28 of the new NAM3. You can see it has a lot of little green spots, which could be sucky drizzle, and it looks like it tries to bring some sucky drizzle in for your Saturday night. Unfortunately, we're going to be dealing with a lot of that this weekend. And the NAM obviously showing way more cloud cover than the RGEM. RGEM, I think, is a little underdone on the cloud cover. I don't think we see sun breaking out, mostly clear north of the area tomorrow. I don't think we're going to see that much of that low cloud deck burn off. I think it's a little off. Well, we can look at the FV3 as well, which is the high-resolution GFS. And, yeah, it just keeps us in the clouds, I think. So that's what we're going to see. Now, we can look at this is the 12Z run, so that's why I really don't want to show that too much. All right, now that we looked at all that, let's go to the Ventus sky here. And you see what I mean with humidity here being quite high. And I think this also shows, does it show fog? This does not show fog. I don't think it does show fog. It doesn't show fog. Does not show fog. Okay, well, We'll use this to look at the winds for Sunday. All right, so wind gusts. So this is pretty substantial here. Gust to 51. So yeah, wind advisory is probably going to be needed. What model is this using? HRRR. So interesting. Even though the LLJ doesn't look that impressive, a lot of wind translates to the surface, which there may be a marine layer here that keeps the wind away. But this model is showing that we're going to have some pretty gusty winds. And wind advisory at the very least would be needed for Sunday. If it's stronger than this, we may even need a high wind warning, perhaps. This is also going to cause the oceans to get rough. So you see some higher wave heights as well. Could be some beach erosion and flooding, perhaps, with that wind. Now, precipitation, you can sort of see what it's showing here, these thunderstorms here. It's too early to speculate as to how much rain we're going to see from this line of showers that moves through. It all depends on how fast it moves through. But we can look at the thunderstorm risk, and this kind of shows elevated capes mainly off to the west. And also, if you look at the temperature chart, you'll see again how warm it is inland versus on Long Island, where it's not quite as warm. But we should get rid of the drizzle Sunday, I think. The drizzle is part of the warm front. So let's go to windy.com. Look at that. This will show us the visibility. So let's go to visibility. Gotta go here. Visibility. All right. So this is a good way to look at visualize things. So you see as we get in there, you can see that sucky drizzle that we have. Now this isn't rain. These aren't showers. This is just drizzle or maybe fog, patches of fog. But here's 9 a.m. Still got the drizzle. And look at that, 3 p.m. Look at all that fog on the South Shore. That's that could be mix of fog and drizzle perhaps, or just fog. There could be some very dense fog tomorrow too. As we get like that, and that fog thickens by the evening. This is all fog, I think. This isn't precipitation coming down, because if we look at rain accumulation, there's nothing here. It's fog. So it's showing only fog here, visibility. So we're going to be dealing with a lot of fog tomorrow and perhaps some drizzle. Hopefully, it's hard to tell whether it's going to be fog or drizzle, but it's going to be one or the other, if not both. That we're going to be dealing with tomorrow, unfortunately. So gloomy Saturday, and very dense fog tomorrow night. It's showing very dense fog. Visibility is very low. And then for Sunday, you can see how the visibilities improve as that warm sector comes in and lifts the fog out. But you have this warm air going over the colder waters because the sea surface temperatures are colder. If we look at water temperatures here, let's see if this has got water temperatures here. Does not have water temperatures. Okay. We can also use this. There's also a fog parameter. So here we go into Saturday. You can see that some areas, you can see that fog offshore there and how it comes in toward the evening. Actually, it's not showing fog. Yeah. So maybe it's sucky drizzle that's going to cause that restriction visibility. Very hard to tell right now at this point. This is very hard to predict. Very hard to predict what's going to happen. But it does show some patchy fog. Maybe this is using a different model. I don't know. But let's shift over to the winds. We're going to use the wind gusts here. Tomorrow, wind won't be too much of an issue. It's Sunday. That's when we start dealing with the winds. And Euro's not quite as crazy as the HRRR, but I still think a wind advisory will be needed at the very least for a Sunday. Sunday night. And thunderstorm threat. There are thunderstorm threats here. It's showing some thunderstorm perhaps development Sunday. So, again, we're going to have to look at all of that. I'll go to the Ventus sky. Actually, I realize there is a parameter for fog on here. Let's go and look at fog. There actually is a visibility parameter on here, too. So this is the HRRR. You're showing no fog, so it's mainly drizzle. That's what it's showing here. This is tomorrow. You see, it's not fog so much. The fog would tend to come in toward the evening, it looks like, and then it does bring in some fog. But visibility, let's see what it has here. Yeah, it's got restricted. This This to me indicates a lot of sucky drizzle for tomorrow. Man, I hope not. But it could wind up being a very sucky Saturday if this is correct. And point, I don't understand how drizzle can be so heavy it restricts visibility down to a 0.1 of a mile. That's what I don't understand. So when we go to fog, it doesn't show any fog. So I don't understand what's going on here. Drizzle can't be that heavy to not have to not show up as fog. It does have overcast, but I mean, the humidity 100%. So tomorrow, whatever. It's you're either gonna have drizzle, or you're gonna have fog, or you're gonna have both. But as far as it's gonna be damp and just dreary and crappy and sucky. So let's go to the Tropical Tidbits site and just look at one more time at the. We got a few more of these models, and hopefully maybe you could see at least the rainfall amounts that could come with that front. So I'll do total accumulate precip. You get to see it's not until we get towards Sunday night, and that's when it's showing that some areas, and again, where that front stalls, the east end could see maybe 2 inches of rain, and into the west, a lot less. This is the GFS, and none of the short-range models go far enough out. I can look at the European as well. It kind of shift the European's a little more offshore with it. But yeah, that's what it looks like for this weekend. So I guess that wraps things. Actually, let me just go back to windy.com for a moment. One more thing we can look at here on windy.com for this is I'm kind of curious about the dust, where that's going to go. Let's see if this dust shows up on here. Yeah, not really. It doesn't show up. I'm kind of curious as to where that cloud of dust is going to go. That's what I'm kind of curious about. It looks like it sort of shows it a little bit. It looks like it might wind up going into Chicago. I don't think we're going to get it. I think it's going to go mainly. I'll have to see. The dust might wind up making it here. If it does, it probably wouldn't be until Monday. Perhaps. I'm kind of curious about that for sure. So we will have to watch the dust too. So we got a number of things watch on this active weekend. Obviously, not so active here tomorrow. It's mainly just going to suck. But as we get into Sunday, that's when things could get a little more interesting. So that's going to wrap up this Long Island weather report. Thank you for watching, and have a good night.